Is it more about special attraction than it is being part of the storylines? Because those are two very separate things. AJ Styles being in Noah and wrestling Marufuji, special attraction. The win and the loss really aren't going to matter. It wasn't like you were inserting AJ in the storylines and now he's going to be around. It's not that case. You know, Jordynne Grace got inserted into NXT storylines and got to beat Stevie Turner and got, you know, some interactive segments, interaction, I should say, with other NXT talent. Like, she was part of it. You know, Ethan Page shows up and he's right part of it. Now, he's part of the company, so it's a little different. But there's been that level of intrigue with NXT now because of TNA. And I don't think people are going like, oh, my goodness, did you see Izzy Dame and Jordynne Grace? Or did you see when Tatum Pax? Like, it's not creating that kind of buzz for TNA. I don't think it is. Now, I say that and also shout them out for selling out Montreal. 4,000 people in Montreal for Slammiversary. That's awesome. Very happy to see that for that company. Oh, Charlie Dempsey, Bloodsport. Thank you, Dom. So maybe there is some buzz. I don't see people talking about the Thursday programming. I will say that, and I think you'd want that. I think if you're TNA, you want more of that, and they might be happy with how things are going. I don't know how happy they were with the AEW back and forth. That was what it was. I think and at the time, it created buzz. Tony Schiavone and Tony Khan popping up for a commercial that they paid for on TNA programming. Yeah, that was cool. It immediately goes, oh, I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Now, you got to follow up on that intrigue, but it's there. And it's been there now for about 6 weeks for this TNA partnership. And it started with Jordynne Grace. And it happened at the same time with Ethan Page showing up. And no, he wasn't coming from TNA, but it was still someone that we had just seen recently in AEW now popping up in TNA. I'm not trying to compare it to the Outsiders, okay? I'm not saying, Ethan Page coming to NXT is like Hall and Nash coming to WCW. No, it's just the fact that it happened so soon after he had been in AEW. That's the key, is capitalizing on that intrigue, capitalizing on the eyeballs that are bringing you there, and then following up on it. With Jordynne Grace, she didn't win. We haven't seen her since. Kind of a bummer. Now, I happen to think, and if you believe, and wrestlers can say whatever they want in interviews. Let me get this straight. When they're talking about, when my contracts, they have no reason to tell the truth about that stuff. When I used to do fantasy football full time, I used to talk about this all the time. You don't have to believe, nor are you obligated, nor should you believe anything a coach tells you about an injury. For American football fans out there that are watching, there's an injury report. And if those that don't know, there's an injury report that comes out every single week. And it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday if you're playing a Sunday game. And they have to put on who practiced and who didn't. And there's a coach to the Seahawks, Pete Carroll, always talk about, my running back's feeling good. And it was always a lie. Because the player was more hurt than they let on. And he would talk about playing time. And you know what? He's allowed to do that. And if I'm a wrestler, I'm going to use all of my media because no one's checking. That's the thing. No one's following up on this stuff for the most part. Some do. I don't want to group all wrestling media. But there's a lot of, they said this on my show. I believe it. And you know what? You can negotiate through the media. And you can put out news like that. And you can get your name. Who was it? Ricky Shane Page he's a free agent now. Wonder where that came from. And smart of him to put his name out there. Will it lead to anything? We don't know. But there are some of your favorite wrestlers absolutely use the wrestling media for their own good. And the wrestling media will be happy to take a headline and put it out there. And they get clicks and they get subscriptions and people pay whatever it costs for their premium site. I get that. That is everybody knows that they're trying to get something out of the fans. or they're trying to get a better contract, or whatever it may be. You'll use the media. You'll use interviews. So if Jordynne Grace is indeed up in January, I expect her to show up in WWE. I expect her, barring an even much longer contract, to be in WWE full-time. And the other name, obviously, that's been big in this whole thing is Joe Hendry. And the man is a walking meme. He is. And I've said, he's got two paths here. You can remain the walking meme. And sometimes, as you get down to another path, as the funny guy, it sputters out. You know, the thing that's over, but it's funny. You know, do you believe in the thought of funny equals money? A lot of people don't. Are you Mizdow? Is it a Fandango situation? Where, oh, that was fun to chant and all that, and it went away. Now, there's funny guys that stick around, and that's their role. I think a lot of people, looking back, would be thrilled to have Santino Marella's WWE career. R-Truth is beloved. Yes, he was a tag champion, but I think as we've seen the last couple of years, and by the way, 5 years since the 24/7 stuff with this guy right here, Drake Maverick. 5 years ago this was. Truth's been doing comedy stuff for at least 5 years. Hell of a career. A lot less bumps. That's a career you want to have. Is Joe Hendry going down that road? Or is there more to this? He qualified for the Slammiversary title match. Doesn't seem like he is getting the shot at Ethan Page, even though it was not necessarily directly teased, but they popped his face up without the music after Page won at Heatwave. And what was that to do? Well, we saw him in the main event last week win. Popped up on commentary last night in NXT. That handshake was staged. I'm just kidding. Of course you wouldn't have to write down that you're going to shake Joe Hendry's hand. Or write your first 4 lines to what you're going to say to him. Of course not. You do that in the moment. Joe Hendry pops up on They're really leaning into to say his name and he appears. Whether it was the backstage when Trick mentioned him and he pops out of what I believe was Shawn Michaels' office. Or the commentary, or Gallus bringing him up, and sprinkle a little Joe Hendry on it. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette.
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.